Hello everyone, in this video I will mainly explain how to add new large language model services within JupyDeep. This will be mainly divided into two parts. First, I will use OpenRouter as an example to explain how to set the API key and URL base in JupyDeep. The second part will be use Llama as an example to primarily explain local large language model deployment, as well as the related settings in JupyDeep. Alright, let's start with the first part, OpenRouter. In order to use the various large language models in OpenRouter, we first, of course, need to register an account. Going to OpenRouter's official website. It should be easy for everyone to complete. I don't need to explain too much about the registration here. This is the My Already Registered account, so after you log in, you should be able to see the top right corner. In this personal account settings, we click on Profile. You can see there is an API key option in the left sidebar. This is where we mainly set our API key. After entering, we can click New Key. It will generate a new API key. In the Name field, you can name it whatever you like. I'll enter JupyDeep key here as an example, just to make it easier for management. This credit limit is primarily used to set a spending cap for this API key. Also, how often does the limit reset? If you use some of the budget, how long until it starts over? Another parameter is the expiration time. I will set it to 1 hour here. You can set a longer duration, or choose to never expire. Since this is just a demo, it doesn't matter. I'll delete it later anyway. Once you click Create, the most crucial part here is this key value. Make sure to copy and save it. Next, we'll head over to configure our environment variables. With that done, we now have our API key ready. Previously, we have already obtained the OpenRouter API key. Now, we need to add this environment variable to the system. Here, I will use Ubuntu as an example. For Mac or Windows, you can refer to online resources on how to set environment variables. Here, we can just enter the following command. We take the API key that we obtained earlier, copy it, and redirect it to .basic file. We can take a look to check. As you can see, the environment variable is now set. We need to ensure it takes effect. Alright, so that's all set up. After that, we can directly create a folder. And we can download and install JupyTerLab. Good. Once installed, we can start it. After launching, we can copy the Jupyter URL to our browser. We can see that Jupyter has started, and JupyDeep is included. But we don't see any available agents. This is because we haven't configured the necessary parameters, so we can go to the setting editor. You can see that it hasn't been set up yet. But we can click the Add button to add the large language model. You can see the API key field. Since we have already configured the environment variables, we can copy it here. It's best to set these two first: API key and base URL. If you set name and provider first, the backend will constantly attempt to connect, which might interrupt your input. So, it is better to do that later. Here is the API base, also known as the URL base. Where do we get this? This comes from OpenRouter. Click on the docs link. We can get it from the Agent SDK section. And the provider should be OpenRouter. Then there's the model. For the model name, we can get it from OpenRouter website, where has many different models. There are all kinds. You can use OpenAI or others. But let's look for the free ones. And this one is from NVIDIA. So we'll use this. But note that this model is text-to-text, it doesn't support images. However, if we switch to GPT, for example, it will support various modalities. We'll just use the one from NVIDIA. Okay, copy this name, and put it into the name field in JupyDeep. In the background, it will try to establish a connection. Once you see the green box, it means the connection is successful. After a successful connection, we can see the agents should appear here. There are two built-in agents. You will see the agent Wukong. Select the language model here for the agent. You can select the LLM for the other agent as well. Basically, just look for the green indicator. Then we can check and verify. Look, it's already working. Alright, with that, we have successfully set up the large language model.